Hello, my name is Derek, and I play James in Lost Years, and today I'm going to answer some questions for you. First question, why did you want to be an actor? So, it's kind of a long story, I'll try to keep it short. I grew up playing dress up and performing in front of my parents my entire life. And then it was when I saw Tobey Maguire's first Spider-Man movie in theaters that I realized somebody was getting paid to do this and be Spider-Man. And it really influenced me to start taking some theater, some plays, and it just kind of snowballed. I took many years off, and around age 29, I decided I wanted to get back into it. So I started pursuing film more heavily, and now I'm living in Atlanta, getting to do just that. What do you enjoy most about acting? So I love being able to read about a character and try to figure out who they are in relation to who I am and try to make that character as believable as possible. And that's what I love most about acting, is trying to figure out what exactly I can bring to a certain character and to the audience's eyes. What is your favorite film or theater production? So I like a lot of theater productions, but I'm going to stick to film on this one. So I can think of 3 films. One is the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, the first one, purely because of the influence it had on me. Also, The Wizard of Oz, a classic that went through many directorial changes and several incidents behind the scenes and still became one of the best movies ever made. And third would be Yojimbo, a classic black and white movie that is directed by one of the greatest of all time, Akira Kurosawa. What productions have I acted in before? So, mainly the films I've been in so far are short films. I have done a couple of feature films. My first couple of roles ever were as background extras on Lifetime movies, or movies like Lifetime movies that you can probably catch on Amazon Prime or something like that right now. I was on a TV show called For My Man and American Detective with Joe Kenda. And now I'm doing some lower budget feature films coming up at the end of the year, one of which I'm really excited about, called Project Abeyance. And you're definitely going to have to keep an eye out for that one. It's going to be a really, really good, fun movie. What acting technique do I think is best for me? So the one I've looked into and tried most often is the Meisner technique, because I think method's a little bit harsh depending on the role. If you're playing somebody like the Joker, you've seen what going method could do to somebody in that situation. But I think method works when you're not having to play a psychopath. If you're just playing somebody that lives a slightly different life than you, I think method is a good option. Otherwise, I'd say Meisner, or just good old acting without a method. Just pretend it's real. Isn't that what we're all supposed to do? Would I identify any actors in the industry as role models? Yes. I could think of several, but I'll stick to one. The person I think is the greatest actor of all time who can embody any character is Daniel Day-Lewis. However, he is a method actor and has been known to go a little bit far at times, but his performances are always top-notch, whether it's Bill the Butcher, Abraham Lincoln, or his character in There Will Be Blood. He just knows how to act, and he does it almost perfectly. What do I believe is the most challenging aspect of being an actor? I would say the most challenging part of being an actor comes in relation to the script or the story. If you don't have a good script or a good story, it's really hard to embody a character, which in turn makes it hard to give a good performance. So I would say if you have a good script and good writing, the hardest part is staying in character to a certain extent that you're able to perform. Now, some people can just turn it on and off. I've learned for myself, I do better when I stay in it, as opposed to going in and out, because sometimes you're on set for 16 hours a day and you're only shooting for 2 of those hours. It can get exhausting. You get tired and you're waiting around and you're snacking and you're drinking water. And by the time it's, time to shoot your scene, you're kind of wore out and you're out of it. So I prefer to stay in the character and go, like I said, almost method with it, but not so method that you can't turn it off at the end of the day, if that makes sense. What sort of person is going to love this film? I would like to think everybody's going to like it. I'd say there's a couple of criteria that you should meet if you're going to find this to be extremely enjoyable for you. I'd say, one, enjoy short films that aren't able to open up an entire universe or story because there's just not enough time for it. I would say if you love sci-fi and thrillers, and especially if you like both. The way that I've seen this film, I'm not going to give anything away, but it gives the same vibes as something like Alien does, where you feel very isolated. It's kind of a slow burn at times, and then things just start hitting the fan. And so I'd say if you like sci-fi thrillers, and sci-fi horror, that genre, and if you like short films, then you're really, really going to enjoy this film. But I would encourage everybody to go see it because I think it's wonderful. What was challenging about bringing this script to life? Kind of like I said before, the writing and the script for this were excellent. So that wasn't an issue at all. Shout out Nathan. But I would say the challenging part is that it's a short film. So you don't have a whole lot of time and depth to be able to create something that feels extremely unique. You kind of just got to stick to the script more so for me in short films. I'd say if I would have had a couple months to prepare, as opposed to taking many short films back to back to back, then I would have been able to give a little something more when I watch this back. I'm a little bit disappointed, but I think we all do that, right? When you see one of your finished products and you've grown since you've shot it, it's a little bit frustrating, but I can't wait to see the complete finished product, and everybody from the cast and crew did a wonderful job bringing this to life. Who in the show is most like their character? I'd have to say my good friend Cody. Something about watching him walk in a Letterman jacket just felt right. I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but I love you, Cody. Who is the least like their character? Well, when you see the film, I'm really going to hope that you say that it's me who's least like my character in real life. What do you love and what do you hate about your character? So, what I love about my character is that he seems like somebody who genuinely cares. I'm not trying to give too much away, but I think he's got a really, really good heart. Things I don't like about my character is it seems like he is put in some situations where he's kind of helpless and can't do much about it. And he seems a little bit awkward. But that's the way it was written, and I wanted to play it like that. It was so fun to play him like that. But like just looking at it from the perspective of if he was a real life person, I wish he would talk a little bit more, be a little less in his shell. And but yeah, he's a good-hearted guy, and he really, really cares for his friends and those around him. Without giving anything away, what's your favorite line of dialogue? This might not be able to be shown for marketing because it's not safe for work, but when there's an interaction that my character has with a couple of police officers, when they ask my character where his parents are, and he says, I don't know, sometimes they fuck in the car after the movie. Anything else you want to know about them? That's probably my favorite line. Besides myself, which actor in this production is going to blow people away? I would say even including myself. Alexia Barry, playing Jenny, I think she is able to go 0 to 100 with her emotions on screen, and she was a super, super sweet, kind person, too, in the short amount of time I got to interact with her and the other castmates. But she is a tremendously talented actress, and I think you're all going to see that when you get to watch Lost Years. Oh, and here we go. What makes a good scene partner? It is really important to have a good scene partner. When you don't, it's really hard to buy into what you're doing yourself. I would say just somebody who takes it seriously. You know, somebody who isn't afraid to bust out when they need to and draw in when they need to. And really, it's just a good actor. You don't even have to be likable in real life. We don't have to get along when the cameras aren't rolling. Just when it's time to do your thing, bring it. Know your lines and go with the flow. I think that's important. I think too many people show up having a good idea of how they're going to act a certain scene, and I think it's more important to show up knowing your lines, or at least a good idea of your lines and the idea of the story in the scene, and just letting things roll And I'm not saying necessarily improv, but you just never know how a scene's going to play out or what the set is going to look like exactly until you're there shooting it. So it's important to go in with an open mind. Besides this one, what's your favorite film that you've done? That's kind of a tough question. I've done a lot of short films. None of them really stand out above the others. I have had at least one really, really bad experience shooting a film for some of the reasons I was talking about earlier, where it would be a 6 a.m. call time and then I'm not shooting until 11 p.m. and sometimes they're not getting to my scenes. It's just super disorganized set. Really disappointing. But all the films I've done I've really enjoyed because I like what I do. Lost Years is my favorite that I've shot so far. I can say that honestly, but also I have a film coming up I can't talk too much about right now, but filming in December where I get to play a really, really cool character, and I'm super excited about that. And that's going to be a feature film, and yeah, I hope to have some information on my socials about that as soon as I can, so keep an eye out on that too. What does my perfect Sunday afternoon look like? I'm not picky. As long as there's good food and the people I love, then I'm going to have a great time. Also, if there's UFC on or football, that's a bonus. And then maybe do something outside too, if it's not too hot. I'd rather it be too cold than too hot. When I have a 5-minute break during rehearsal, what do you spend that time doing? Drinking water and rehearsing some more. What do I do when I'm not doing films or theater? Oh, looking for more films and theater to participate in because I love doing it and that's how I make my money. And waiting tables. Still doing that. Thank you guys so much for listening to me answer some of the questions that were given to me. I wish I could have done them in person with all the other cast and crew members, but like I said, I'm living in Atlanta now, and I couldn't quite make the trip in time to get this turned in. So I hope that you watch Lost Years, that you enjoy Lost Years, and that you keep an eye out on all the other projects that we're all working on, and keep continuing to support us, and have an amazing day.